Hi everyone, my name is Matthew Rogers. I am the founder and director of Organic Content Limited. Organic Content is a content creation agency based in London. So we help a lot of brands within higher education and the charity sector make really cool, engaging content to help them achieve their goals. So in the many years that I've worked in higher education, it's really evolved and changed a lot. There's been changes in the demographics of students. There's a growing number of international students. There's a continued growth in mature students. And obviously with that, you have kind of different levels of content needs, and things need to be more accessible for mature students, more flexible. You need to be thinking about how you can make things more engaging for international students who might not have English as a first language. The other big change really is around technology, and that's a huge one, both in the classroom and in everyday life. So particularly for younger generations, the way that they like to learn and access information is completely different to, the baby boomers and everyone who came before. So we need to be thinking differently. And one of the things that I'm noticing is now kind of student life and real life is a bit more integrated because of technology. So, people expect now to be able to kind of access things on their smartphone when they're commuting onto campus, or with the cost of living increasing, more people are sort of living at home. They expect to be able to access things remotely rather than having to go to a lecture all the time to help them save money. So I think, universities through the pandemic invested a lot in technology, and that's going to continue to evolve to kind of meet the learning needs and the kind of communications needs and also the marketing needs of brands and students today. So when we talk about technology, I think you can't ignore video. So in the classroom, that means bringing in things like augmented reality, virtual reality. So, how we can use simulations to kind of put someone in a real world context. So they're not just learning a theory, but they can actually do the practical part anywhere in the world, whether it be through, one of these or a smartphone, or whether it be, a really kind of fancy VR headset that there might be on campus. So I think that's a really key change that we're seeing. Obviously with video as well, it's kind of how you use that as a marketing capacity. So now it's become so easy for anybody to make video about anything, and video can pretty much be accessible now on every single platform, from social media, your website, your email marketing, everything. So I think it really has to be a big part of the content mix moving forward, particularly as, HubSpot recently released a report that said that kind of video has the highest ROI, so return on investment, of any kind of media output. So you really have to be thinking video first. So having worked with and for universities, there's been a massive change in kind of the content production, and particularly with social media, the kind of need to always feed that machine. So, you need to have in-house people now who are skilled at making videos. And obviously the current trend at the moment is to look at these kind of vertical videos. So what you get on TikTok and all the other platforms are copying now. You've got YouTube Shorts, you've got Instagram Reels. So that's where the audience is, and that's where kind of marketing people, social media people, communications people need to be kind of focusing their efforts. And there is a bit of a misconception here that some people think it's, just because you have the technology in your pocket now, that it's really easy. And the content you should be making should be, the short form content between sort of 5 and 15 seconds maximum. But that can be more challenging sometimes than doing a talking heads interview like this, because you really need to think through the scripting of everything. You need to get the key messages down really concisely. So that's going to be a big challenge for people moving forward. The other thing when producing video content is it's a great way to show and not tell a story. And the power in that is obviously you can get kind of authentic voices in. So I think universities now need to be smarter in how they work with students, with lecturers, to create a real variety of really interesting video content. So I think that's going to be something that kind of marketing comms people really need to be thinking about moving forward. It's how do we use these formats? And also how do we kind of come up with all the ideas? Because if you're not posting something near enough every day, the algorithms are going to, stop showing your content, your engagement's going to go down, and there's not a lot you can do about that. So really you've got to keep feeding the machine, and that's going to be the challenge. So there are several ways that universities can kind of get around this challenge about how you make all this content, how you get the right quality and standard. One way, for example, is H10 have a brilliant app that I've used in the past, where basically they can provide their kind of expertise in kind of editing and content creation give your students a device which kind of, sits on their mobile phone, and they can tell them what footage they're looking for. Shoot this, film from this angle, ask questions so that they get kind of a dialogue going, so you get the right audio back, and then they can do the editing part of the process. So that's obviously one way of approaching this. The other way is obviously doing things in-house and kind of building kind of content influencer networks. So finding students who are really engaged with creating things, maybe as part of their course, so like media students, or even people that do it as a hobby, and kind of bringing them into your marketing team and working with them. Collaboration is kind of the key word here, to basically come up with exciting plans and then get them to go out and create and have fun with it, because these people are using things like TikTok. So why not use their expertise in this space to produce the content that's going to kind of be more authentic and really engage with the target audience, the people you're trying to market to or communicate your message with. So obviously, having worked in higher education, I know sometimes there is a reluctance to kind of let go of your brand and give someone else control of your content. Giving students access to your Instagram, for example, is quite a big thing. But really, the key with the social media platforms is the content needs to be good when you take the branding away. So if I cover up the logo, that content still needs to be really engaging, speak to me, be funny, be motivational, be useful, whatever it needs to be, without having the university logo there. Because essentially, if you engage someone with the content, they'll go down that rabbit hole of following you, looking at other videos, and eventually, obviously, looking at the short form videos might lead to watching longer form videos that are a bit more informative, or going to your website, signing up for an open day. So you've really got to think about the bigger picture, and sometimes just kind of let go of that control. Another key thing is obviously kind of branding teams and marketing teams really need to be closer aligned. That's something that, I've seen examples in the past where, you might have a bit of butting of heads there. But the reason it's really important they work together is, particularly Generation Z, they really care about kind of the authentic content and your brand values. They're looking for that story. They really want to know what you as a university or a college, what you stand for, what you're about. A great example of this is sustainability. So I read a report a couple of months ago that said essentially that students really, really value sustainability as one of their kind of 5 key factors when they're choosing university. So it's no longer just something that we put on a page in a prospectus or lives in a corner of a website. It kind of needs to be front and center now. You need to be kind of showing the impact that you're having on the planet, not just kind of publishing a sustainability report once a year. So you've really got to bring these things to life and put them into the wider messaging as well. A really exciting trend for 2023 that I think everyone in HE needs to be aware of is the use of AI. Now, AI can be scary, it can be new, it's still learning its way, but it's not going away. There's so much investment in technology across the world that it's here to stay. One of the ways that I think universities can leverage the technology is to kind of supercharge their workflows. So you can use AI tools to do things like generate ideas for content. You can type into an AI tool, give me 10 blog posts about life in East London, for example, which you can obviously start to push out on your social media channels, on your website. There's also things like tools that can do automated kind of subtitles, which is really important for like accessibility if you're producing video content and putting it online. So that's a really, really interesting area. There's also AI copywriters. So obviously I wouldn't recommend using an AI copywriter to do all your copy and all of your content. But in terms of doing things quicker, because what we're seeing across the sector is that a lot of teams are getting smaller, budgets are sometimes being cut. You can start to use some of these tools to really kind of supercharge what you're doing. So maybe you use an AI copywriter to give you a first draft of a piece of content, and then you kind of go in, you polish it up, you add your branding, add your unique values to that, so it sounds authentically you. So I think that's probably the trend that I'm most excited of exploring myself this year, and which I'd advise everyone in kind of HE to be thinking about as well. So the organic content, what we do is we help our clients find their muse, their content muse. And Muse is just our framework for making really good, really engaging content. And what it stands for is the M is motivational content, U is useful, S is shareable, and E is entertaining. And if you have this mix in your own content strategy, you can't go too far wrong on kind of social media channels and your website. So whatever you do this year, try and find your muse, or there are other content frameworks out there, but we love the muse. So yeah, keep looking, keep experimenting, keep making different content, and see where it takes you. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you found it useful. They were obviously my top trends for 2023 and things to look out for. I'd love to know what yours are. So if you've got any ideas, put them in the comments. But yeah, thank you so much for your time, and look forward to seeing your exciting content in 2023.